Hi everyone, it's Maija here, and this time for my latest and for now last project for Hip Kit Club. Today I'll be making this mini album with the subscriber exclusive cut file, this cute little globe, and I already cut it out with my silhouette machine, and now I'm going to do a little bit of piercing onto the cut file so that I can do stitching a little bit later. So now that I've pierced through all the lines on the globe, I'm going to pack up each of these little triangles with pattern papers. So I'll be using the same pattern papers that I already used in the globes that I'm going to use for the pages of the mini album, and just tracing the middle of the triangles and then cutting it with a little bit of extra and then gluing them on to the cut file. I'm using this precision tip glue applier. It's something that I bought as an empty, and I put my regular glue inside of it. It's super helpful when I'm packing up cut files, when you get just a tiny piece of glue on it. And then let's just skip all the way to the part where I already made all the triangles. This took a little while. Packing up cut files isn't the fastest thing to do, but it sure is worth the while. And now I'm just packing up these cute roses that are on the side of the globe. I put glue onto the cut file, glued it on the paper, and now I'm just cutting around it. It's easier for shapes that are a little more detailed. And then it's time to glue this onto a solid white globe. I used the offset tool on my Silhouette Studio to create these solid globes that I'll be using to back up this cover, and then also as the basis of my mini album for the pages. And now I'm just piercing through each of these layers and then doing a little bit of stitching. I chose this really pale pink thread, and I'll be going through each of these lines to create a little bit of dimension and texture on my cover. And there you have it, stitching is done. This also took quite a while, but I like doing my stitching while watching TV or listening to a podcast, so I don't mind. I love doing that. And then it's time to embellish the cover, and I decided to put a title on it. So this week on the design team, we've all been making projects with selfies, and since I have this globe, I decided that I'm gonna do selfies around the world. So I'll be adding that onto the cover using the cute little gold alphabet and then making a little banner. And this time around I did solely with my handwriting, but I in the end decided to go back and added a few stickers, so this will be actually scratched and another banner is going to be added. You'll see it later, but I wanted to keep the cover quite simple since it has all the pattern papers and the stitching on it already. And then my go-to method is to pack up all the photos. So I used Photoshop to create these tiny little photos. These are 1.5 inch roughly squares or little rectangles, and I'll be packing them up with pattern papers. Everything that I'm using is from the July Hip Kit Club kits. My August kit didn't quite make it. I couldn't use it, but I'm happy with the color scheme of the July kits. And then it's time to create the first page. So I'm gluing down the pattern paper globe onto the white one. It's a little offset, as I mentioned, so a little bit of white is showing off each one, and I love how that creates a little bit of dimension. And then it's time to make up the first page. These are the photos from our trip to Hong Kong back in 2014. And when I was going through my photos, it was fun to see how the evolvement of selfies actually came to. We have photos throughout the whole life of ours together. We've been together for 15 years and we've been traveling quite a lot. And it was fun to see that there weren't many selfies from those times when we didn't have smartphones. So as the time goes by and as we grew attached to our smartphones and iPhones, you can see that there are more selfies around also. But this was a fun project to do. It was fun to go through all our photos and figure out which selfies I could use and then gather all the selfies from each particular trip. Quite often it happens to be that there are too many photos that I could use, and this time I didn't want to leave out too many of them. So I decided to make little pockets on a few of the pages. For this one I made a little slit onto the pattern paper, and that will create cute little pockets for the photos. These are from the US East Coast. I decided to split US into two since we've been there a few times. First time together back in 2007 in New York, then we've been to Chicago and to New York another time, to Washington, and then West Coast is a whole nother story, so I wanted to add both onto the mini album. But this way, when I added the pockets, I could actually fit in more photos. This next page is going to be about US West Coast, and I wanted to add a little envelope onto it. I already folded the envelope, so I'm just going to show it to you. It's an origami envelope that you can search for online. It's a cute little thing that I used a little bit of glue on so that it would actually stick together. And it holds in a bunch of photos that are from the West Coast of the United States. We've been there actually once only to the actual West Coast, but we also went on our honeymoon to Hawaii. We visited Oahu and Maui, and the lower photo here of us together, just the two of us, is from our honeymoon, and then there's a photo of the whole family back in Venice Beach. So I love these evolvements of life put into one mini album page. And then it's time to speed up things a little bit. I'll be creating 6 other pages for my mini album. Creating mini albums for YouTube is quite tricky since it takes quite a while. The reason why I love them, I love spending time making projects, but it's quite hard to actually make a process video for it. But I hope you don't mind for the fast pace of this thing, but just creating pages of different places we've visited. This is from Germany a few years back. And then the next one is going to be from Denmark. We visited Legoland with the kids a few years back, adding them. And for this page I wanted to add multiple photos by stapling them together. So that allows me to have a little dimension and then also more photos than just the 2 that I could fit into the page. decided to make another envelope for a page of our trip to United Arab Emirates, so Dubai. So here you can see how I'm folding it a little slower. It's a super easy origami and it makes up a fun envelope. You can fit things inside. So now that all the pages are done, I'm gonna go back and add a few little things here and there. These cute little face stickers from Pink Fresh Studio are perfect. They go perfect with the color scheme of my mini album. So I'm just adding a few things here and there and making sure that everything is in place and perfect as it should be. And there it is, the finished mini album. I really loved making it, as I have loved making all of the projects for Hip Kit Club design team. Now it's time to move on. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys for following me here, and I'll see you on social media. I will never stop crafting, even though not on the design team. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.